up style. Take reggae music at a different level and reach out to the people. A survivor from the wheelers, gone and not be forgotten.
Good evening and welcome to another community forum. I'm your host, Byron Campbell. Whether you're listening on MTV, Channel 18, Facebook, YouTube, welcome, good evening. Chris, and of course, Chris Diari, our co-host. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, viewers, and on community forum.
Great, Chris. Another Wednesday. We have an interesting evening. We'll be joined later by no other than a celebrity. You want to guess which one?
Yeah. One of my favorite local artists.
Right, Sabrina Francis. So she'll be joining us later. But before we continue our chit chat, we'll take a short break. Viewers, please stay with us.
Blast Gaming presents its biggest shot whatever. Blast Mystery Progressive. I'm so excited, I can't hide it. In your blast jackpot rising, and I like it. It going up and up and up and up and up. Blast up and up and up and up and up and up.
Play selected games to win in the Blast Mystery Progressive. Pick until you match 3 gems and win one of the 5 cash jackpots. Or you can blast up with the Mystery Progressive jackpot.
It's going up and up and up and up and up. Blast up and up and up. Blast Gaming.
Use a pan to wash and rinse your dishes. Save water.
This awareness initiative is part of activities under the Climate Resilient Water sector in Grenada. The project is funded by the Green Climate Fund, the German government, and the government of Grenada.
Ready to kickstart your morning the right way? The return of MTV's Rise and Shine morning show will help you do just that. Rise and Shine Grenada is coming back with a touch of fusion. Stay tuned for more.
Focusing on mangrove destruction. The picture was very, very vivid, very clearing, glaring. We saw persons that cutting mangroves for charcoal purposes, not understanding the serious implications and the benefits of mangroves. And we see this in other parts of the island. If you go to the south, persons who live along the shoreline in Egmont and other places, we see mangroves being cleared for yachting purposes and other purposes without any assessment and evaluation. But the big danger now is in the north, where we have huge mangroves and it's forestry, and it's been cleared.
Well, I am saddened by that development from the point of view not only of the environmental aspects and the importance of mangrove, but we also have people backfilling in some areas and encroaching on mangrove land and taking land as part of land for development. And I think what government needs to quickly get into is to pass laws to protect mangroves as areas that you cannot deal and encroach and do anything. So we need to get laws to protect the mangroves because of the criticality of the purpose they serve. I mean, they serve they are major filters for stuff coming off the mainland and going into the sea. Then there is the issue of protecting our reefs, issue of providing environments for the spawning of our fish and the eggs and so on. So they offer a lot to us in terms of protection of the environment. And I can't believe that we'll be cutting the wood in the mangrove for charcoal when we have briar. I don't know what is the proper name for briar, but that is one of the best let's
call it campes too.
That you could use to do coals. And we have briar all over this country growing at a ridiculous rate.
So it's a problem. So forestry need to come on board here to ensure
and the Ministry of Environment and so on, they need to get, and this need to be urgently effected. Just as we had a sand mining thing that was urgent and we passed laws to deal with it.
Chris, we had last week the IMF, the Grenada staff concluding statement on 2024 last month. Earlier this month, actually. It's an interesting report. I just want to give a highlight of it, Chris, and I'll have some questions for you on it. Basically, what it's saying is that I think it's a positive report because it's saying that our economy has been experiencing sustained strong growth, supported primarily by tourism and, of course, the cash inflow coming from the CBI. What do you make of the report?
Well, just like you, I thought it was a positive report for the government because the government is 2 years in office. And the positive side of it, construction, CBI, inflows, and tourism are the three major sectors. You hear nothing about agriculture, you hear nothing about anything else. The financial sector is stable, as they indicated, which is good, but there are issues there in terms of compliance, particularly on the non-bank side.
Credit unions.
Credit unions in particular. So there is work there to be done in order that the downside risks are managed appropriately as we move forward. But a 4+% growth on GDP has been a good figure for us because very few Caribbean islands now, with the exception of Guyana, is 4 and 5%. Going forward, though, they expressed the concern that the GDP growth rate is going to be about between 2 and 3%, which is a concern because some economists will say unless you're above 3 and 4, you don't get the real positive growth to give you sustained development. They spoke about the deposits, and the government have good deposits and good
coming from the CBI.
Coming from the CBI, but then that is another risk that they quoted as well. Too much dependence on CBI and funds going into the NTF, the National Transformation Fund, to assist with local
and how this fund is managed.
Exactly.
It's also an issue.
It's also an issue. So I think there is a positive report, but there are signs where the government need to pay attention to.
And I just want to pick you up on that. I mean, we had a passing comment on agriculture. Higher agricultural productivity and greater resilience of crops to adverse weather events would allow domestic food production to increase their added value from tourism. Nothing about food security, which is a major issue. And Chris, I just want to move on here as we talk about food security. The CARICOM meeting is coming up next week, 3 days. And interestingly, the main focus is, of course, I understand, Haiti, the worrying trends with crime and security in the region, the movement of labor and talent, climate change. But the one I want to focus here is an effort to reduce the region spiraling food import bill, which is about 60 billion. But I'd like to focus on Grenada for a moment, Chris. The numbers from Grenada, and this was picked up by the Caribbean Policy Development Center. They carried out an analysis, some research. And the data they collected showed that Grenada's food import bill has been averaging for the past 10 years about 77 million US dollars. That is huge. But the interesting thing about CARICOM has this 25-25. In other words, they want to reduce the food import bill across the region by 25% next year, 2025. Impossible. That means for Grenada, we need to reduce our food import bill by 51 million EC dollars. How are we going to do that? Well, what's the strategy that's existing for us to attain this level of reduction in our food import bill?
I don't think we have a strategy that is holistic and is coordinated and is focused.
Yeah.
Let's start with meats and chicken, which is a big part of the food import bill.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about chicken, we talk a lot about what we want to do, but to me there is no real plan, and the Chicken Association, the Poultry Association, you know, so you get it's disjointed how we go about it. Then if you go to production of food crops, vegetables and short term, we've been talking a lot about getting technology into that sector by having greenhouses and how we do it. Again, it is not focused and strategized in how the government, the Ministry of Agriculture is going to help farmers transition. Yeah. Then when you look at the aspect of what we're doing in value add, agro-processing, again, you don't hear about what we're going to do in the aspect of that and what projects they have coming up. How is government going to intervene? Then you have the whole issue of pest control and all of that is happening. So by when I say all of that, I mean, I know of a young man who wanted to do a shrimp project in Grenada, and he has all his money looking for government to give him land, and it hasn't happened.
So Chris, we have a lot to talk about, but the biggest fallout from what we're talking about here is a public health issue, Chris. It's contributing to one of our main public health issues, nutrition, poor nutrition, and it's increasing the prevalence of chronic non-commutable diseases. Nutrition-related diseases. We have a big problem there, and I think we're having a guest soon to talk about this issue, nutrition. But this thing about importing food is a lot of junk we're consuming, and it has a health implication to our
I think the
citizens.
issue of processed foods is a major concern that, as you spoke about, facilitates non-communicable diseases. In a big way, the amount of sugar and salt we have in our diet, and these are all things we could deal with through nutrition and behavioral style in how we eat and what we eat. We talk plenty years about growing what you eat and eating what you grow, but I just talk. We don't do it, and that is a problem that we have. So I think for the government, agriculture is not given the importance that it ought to in a structured way, and that to me is a big problem.
It's a problem. Chris, pension reform, public workers, there were some comments on it recently. The union responded to what's the government talking about. What are you picking up?
Well, I think the president of the PWU came out and spoke about that he's not happy with how government is going about it.
The approach.
And what they are doing. But I also know that the PWU or the labor movement was asked to be part of the committee dealing with pension reform, and they never went and sat on the committee. So they stayed away. So you can't stay away from something and not contribute and then criticize when
what
government
they said, they weren't invited
proposal.
as the union representing the workers. In other words, the government invited the labor movement to send a representative.
But
they feel, look, we are the union representing the workers, we want a direct inputs in this.
If you have the TUC, that is what the TUC is about. We had
But the TUC is not the public workers union.
No, but that is the whole point. The TUC had to represent workers in general, including public workers. So, and I mean, they don't discuss things, even though things come to the representative, they go back to the relevant unions to discuss the impact and the possible consequences of what is being suggested. So I don't buy that.
I buy it.
I don't buy that.
I think, Chris, this is the union representing the workers, the public workers. They should be invited to form the committee or part of the discussion, part of the consultation.
When we had the PRO of the PWU on our program, and we asked her about government's proposal of a contributory pension scheme, she was opposed to that in the sense that why the 100% financing cannot continue. And the unions and the labor movement will come. If I tell you pay 5% contributory, they wanted back in increases in their salary. They don't see it as an investment, they see it as a cost. And that is a problem that needs to be changed.
So it's ongoing. Sandals has a recent initiative to intervene or to support direct community, I would call it food production at the family level or the village level. That's a good thing. It's like the social contribution this is a good thing.
It is. I think the project is called Mongava, the Mongava project, and it is something that they're doing in areas that would appear to be depressed in St. George, like Montu and other areas. And I think it's an excellent initiative. Not only does it teach persons on how to grow and what to grow and the terms and conditions, but gives them an access to food in their own little backyard if it's done that way. And then Sandals get an opportunity to promote themselves and we could sell back to the hotel.
So win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win all around. So they have a market through the hotel. They have an ability to support themselves food-wise, and vegetable and short crops is an excellent, quick 6 weeks turnaround kind of thing.
I like this.
And based on how you rotate, you could get income every week.
I like this.
So I think that is an initiative that a lot of us need to copy in the private sector, not only the hotel sector, but I think in general, I always say years ago that a firm like Jonas Brown and Hubbard's, huge firm, could come together with some farmers in a community and say, guys, our supermarkets need a lot of vegetables.
And we support you to produce.
Right.
So it's
I get your seeds, I get your technical advice, we test the soil, we see what's best. You bring science into the thing, so you help the farmers there and you help them manage the business as they go forward.
Great. Viewers, we'll be right back. As we told you earlier on, we'll be joined by Sabrina Francis, songwriter, artist, what else is she?
All kind of things.
Everything. So stay with us. We'll be right back. We have an exciting second part of the program for you. Stay with us. Bye-bye.
Anniversary fundraising bingo event Sunday, July 14th from 5 p.m. at Victoria Park, Grenville. Over $100,000 in cash and prizes to be won. Imagine you can win a Suzuki Ignis hybrid car, $50,000 in cash, plus other fantastic prizes. Tickets are $60 for one or $100 for two. Free buses will be available island-wide. Don't miss it, or you might just see your neighbor driving a Suzuki Ignis. Sunday, July 14th. We're heading to Victoria Park in Grenville for the new National Party 40th Anniversary Fundraising Bingo.
The yard. Use a broom instead of a hose. Save water.
This awareness initiative is part of activities under the climate resilient water sector in Grenada. The project is funded by the Green Climate Fund, the German government, and the government of Grenada.
Blast Gaming presents its biggest job whatever. Blast Mystery Progressive. I'm so excited. I can't hide it. In your blast jackpot rising. And I like it. It going up and up and up and up and up. Blast up and up and up and up and up and up.
Play selected games to win in the Blast Mystery Progressive. Pick until you match 3 gems and win one of the 5 cash jackpots. Or you can blast up with the Mystery Progressive jackpot.
It going up and up and up and up and up. Blast up and up and up. Blast Gaming.
A Carnival Pulse is coming. Yes, you heard it. Carnival Pulse, a vibrant live broadcast event that captures the heart and soul of Grenada's Carnival. July 29th to August 9th at the Esplanade and Bruce Street Mall. Stay tuned for more information on Carnival Pulse, a production of MTV and Fusion FM in collaboration with Grenville Property Corporation Limited. This carnival will be pulsating.
And as we alluded to a little earlier, we have with us in studio Miss Sabrina Francis. As you know, one of our favorite local artists, is doing many things across the globe. And we have her this evening here to talk to us about music and how music is going and what we could expect. As you know, we're heading into a season where a lot of music is going to be coming up through Carnival, through Calypsos and other things. Yeah. That is not Sabrina's genre, but she's obviously will delve in a lot of the areas. She's into African beats now and delving into that. So we're going to invite her to have a conversation with us this evening and tell us where the things are going. So Sabrina, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I can call you Sabrina?
Of course you can. That's my name.
So my first question to you, Sabrina, knowing that you come from a musical family, your mom and your sisters and so on.
Yes.
What gives you the inspiration to do what you're doing?
Oh, let's start with the heavy one. Okay. Well, I think it's a mixture between inspiration and having a team behind me, a small one, but a group of people that believe in what I do. The inspiration comes from me feeling like this is what I was placed here to do, me feeling like this is my purpose and I'm being fulfilled every time I try to walk in that path. And that's pretty much what the inspiration is for me.
When you look at how you have done things, which is quite different, your show that you do up in you call it under the mango tree.
The tree house.
The tree house and the tree house. That is so unusual for people who come to the show to be so close to the band and feel the music.
Yes.
I think that is quite different to a lot. Most people go on a stage and they perform and so on, but your intimacy in that environment is very interesting, I think. Yeah. So the question here to you is, where did that idea come from? Because I think it's so novel.
Thank you. You say the way I've done things. With regards to the Treehouse concert, that was really an organic development. During COVID, we weren't able to congregate with more than 16 people, and we didn't want to sit. We never want to just sit and do nothing. We try to always have output and always be creative with whatever means we have. So at that time, we just sat together and thought, what could we do with only 16 people? And I really love intimate spaces. That's where I shine the most, just because of the type of music that I do. And we wanted to do something that was intimate. We wanted to do something that was focused on the quality of sound and my songs. And so we came up with the idea. There was like a little chicken shed behind the house, Yeah. I don't know if you followed, you would see that we, broke everything down and built everything up and invited a couple people and performed the show just for like friends and some media people, the very first show. And everybody's response was, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. I've never experienced this before. And that was kind of the go-ahead for us to make it public. And ever since, it's been, I would consider it a success. Right now, we're up to 50 people. And we started doing it once a month, and now we're up to twice a month. And it's almost always sold out.
You see, now I am a little bit selfish. I like the little galvanized wooden shed.
It's still the galvanized wooden shed. It's still, and I'm not going to go more than 50 people at that venue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sabrina. Would you sing for us tonight?
Would I?
One verse. Not now, but later on.
You hear me clearing it already.
Tell us, because part of the purpose tonight, we want our community to understand you and to know you a bit better. Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about your upbringing in Grenada and how it influenced your music. But I also want to know what were some of the challenges you faced in getting where you are.
Okay.
And where you are, we know, and I can say this, that we noticed that you're growing popularity on Spotify, that you're over now 8,000 a month listeners, and it's growing followers rather. So tell us about those early years.
Well, my formative years.
Yes.
My mom. If you've never heard of me before, I am from St. Patrick's, Made St. Patrick's, deep country.
Yeah.
My mom used to be a Calypsonian back in her day. Her name was Lady Empress. And she, sang calypso, but she also really loved all types of music. She loved the art of poetry, and she loved the art of writing.
Yeah.
She listened to a lot of jazz. And so at home, she really poured into us, maybe even unintentionally, her love of music and her love of different kinds of music, not just calypso and not just soca music. And so from there, my sisters and I mimicked her a lot in her writing. At 8 years old, she had a song called Black Woman, and each of her daughters also had their own version of Black Woman, because we always tried to just write our own versions of her songs. We grew up singing together. I think a few years ago, I can't remember the exact year, I think there was this show called Grenada's Got Talent, and my sisters and I participated in that. It ended in a mess, but it was the experience was really nice. It was kind of like my first time performing on a stage and gauging, what people would think of us as singers in Grenada. From there, I never really thought of music as a serious career, because my mom did it, but it was very challenging for her for different reasons than it is for me. But one day I was invited to perform 1 or 2 songs at this hotel, La Fable, with this gospel band. They was doing like a Sunday brunch, and for fun I went and I sang 2 songs, and the hotel owner, Dieter, who is now my manager.
Yes, right, yes.
He had a huge musical background. He had a music school, a music venue.
Okay.
He came to Grenada to build a hotel and live the rest of his life completely away from music. He was done with it. And then he saw me perform. He really liked what he heard. I went back up to country. Yeah. He couldn't find me again for another year, but he kept at it, and he searched, he and his wife, Yana. They found me. Eventually, they asked me to come and perform an All Year's Night show. And the working relationship was really nice. I think he was really impressed that I had a repertoire of songs, and I was, 17 or 18 years old. Yeah. But because I'd been trying to write since I was young coming up, I had a lot of songs, and he had never really met someone so young with those songs, and he wanted to work with me, and I think it's been over 10 years now. We've been working together.
Wow, excellent. Sabrina, you have stated, and I read this somewhere, that you wrote that the overarching theme throughout your song speaks to female independence, mental health, and shared experience of hardworking individuals. What inspired you to focus on these themes?
Well, the first thing, female independence. I grew up in a space, a community, and a household, a home even, with mainly women. A lot of women. Even now, my family is made up of a lot of women, and they've had to do a lot of things on their own. And they've had to work really hard, to make ends meet. And so that just comes naturally to me. A lot of the things I write about just comes naturally from my own past experience. Mental health is a huge deal for me, because whether it was chemical or through circumstance, I struggled a lot with melancholy. I call it melancholy. I don't want to call it depression. But I really had to try really hard to stay up above and not get too dark with it. And music was a really, really useful tool for me to overcome a lot of those darker moments. And the last one was what?
The last one had to do with shared experience of hard-working individuals.
Yes, so I'm a young lady, and we just working, we doing the thing, and it's for everybody who could relate to that, and I think that's most people my age.
So you've accomplished a lot in a short time. You have the Treehouse concert, and we talk about that. You toured Europe, the UK, and a big deal, you perform at the Royal Albert Hall, opening act for SAS. That's, of course, SASA, which is a Nigerian French singer, songwriter, and recording artist. What do you list as your highest accomplishment, though?
My highest accomplishment
to date.
To date.
To date. I will have more. As you mentioned, one of them, performing at the Royal Albert Hall was really...
What was it like?
I mean, it was
and of course you have the
people.
And you have the big stage and the little stage. And you talked about that. I mean, the past month you've been on 2 big stages, huge stage, and the trio. But what is your preference? Which one brings out the energy?
To be fair and to be honest, the smaller stages is what I'm used to. And I think just because of my songs, I really would like people to listen
The words.
To it, yeah. But sometimes when you're on a big stage with all these people just want to enjoy themselves, which is fair and fine. And so I kind of have to choose songs based on that experience. But the meat of the matter is when I'm in a small space and everybody's around and we just really could share and listen to the messages of the songs.
You've described yourself as adventurous and playful with music. What do you mean by that?
Well, if you listen to my catalog of music from when I started to now, it's organic, but I've tried everything. I've tried jazz, I've tried soul music, I tried Afrobeats, I tried a little bit of soca, you know, I tried reggae. I write a lot of different style of music. I'm not afraid. I never want to put myself into a box. Even though people say I'm a soul singer, or you know, I try to write all genres and express myself with whatever I feel like. So the last set of songs I have strings in them. I have steel pan. I try to merge as much music as possible because it's music, and when it comes out in the end, everybody could listen to it and enjoy it, and I don't have to put myself into a box.
I saw, in fact, it was today or yesterday. You on your Facebook, you were singing an African. Was it Afrobeat? But was it an African? Let's hear what it sounds, Sabrina. It was an African. It's not English. African beat. It was slow, but.
Do you remember what it was about? Was it woman?
I don't recall the specifics, but I just there. But it was in African language, certainly.
That's Yoruba.
That's wow, Chris, you should listen to this.
No, I have a CDs. I normally take a CDs and listen in my van.
Yes.
Yes.
So CDs, that's out of all CDs. No, go to Spotify.
Coming back. Coming back.
No, go to Spotify. All her music is on Spotify.
What is
the return on this, Sabrina? Is it? I mean, Spotify, of course, gives you exposure, but what about the earning aspect on Spotify compared to a? Because that's important for you as an artist. You have to live.
Right now, the layout of the music industry is that the places that you earn money is when you're on a stage performing for people. That's what it is. Or sell merchandise. So if I make my T-shirts and I sell my CDs, that is where people earn their money. Other than that, it's really Spotify pays you what 0.003 cents on every.
So it's the volume.
Minuscule, but. Yeah. That's where people find the music. So that's where it's all. I consider all of these things just marketing, just being present so that people could find me, and eventually I could meet them face to face. Eventually.
Yeah. Tell me about. Sorry.
Go ahead. No.
Yeah, you have the last one in a little while.
I'm taking all the questions.
Give it him. Tell me about the band. A little about your band, because your members have been with you for quite a while. In detail and so on and so forth. Tell me about your band.
Okay, I would start with. Well, I mentioned Dieter already. He's my manager, but he also plays the keyboard for me, and we also write. He wears many hats. He drives a bus. He like to say he's a good bus driver. He plays. We also write a lot of songs together. Yeah. He's on the keyboard. I come up with something, and he, tries to put music to it, and then we go to a producer. Alicia Ed is my guitarist, and she's like she's a sister to me, She does followed with me all the time, She's working with me in different aspects right now as well, and I love her very, very much. Laura Lisa, she's a Grenadian singer in her own right. She's released songs, and I think she's getting ready to release another one. She hasn't been, for a little while, but she's stepping into the soca thing this year again.
One song she does on depression that I love.
Yeah,
I think it's so nicely put together.
Yeah. She's a musician. Like, I love her music and the way that she writes. It reminds me of my mom a lot, and I'm
very talented.
And really down to earth. So yes, we connect a lot. Then I'll go to Godson Brown. He's a music teacher and very, very knowledgeable, very type A, always on time, very punctual, very comical in a sense, but yes. And then his wife is also on the team. And a very new member is Jared Nelson. He's been a musician forever. He used to play with Soul Deep. That was a band from when I just started singing. And King Jules. He's in and out. He's a police band member, and he's an amazing musician. And all of those people are I consider them to be very highly skilled. I I worked with a lot of different musicians. Like sometimes when I travel to the UK, I've met musicians who, you know, went to Berkeley and studied, and they're high. And then I feel like my musicians could stand next to them and sound good. So that makes me feel really, really proud of them.
Because I know part of your program, your concerts, you have invited musicians from abroad.
Yes, I have.
And they're very talented people, and they come and they really seem to enjoy the treehouse environment and what we do and what you do there.
Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because, as you said, it's very different, and it's always nice when people could be open-minded and experience something out of the box.
Yeah.
You're looking at me. I've seen you perform with Killer. And it's so natural.
Yeah.
Tell us about what's the vibes there? In that duo, it's. I think we're in Bathway one year. I saw you.
Yeah, they were down at the show recently in Puerto Rico.
I've known Mr. Killer for a few years now, and we connect very deeply on music. The fact that I took an inspirational trip to South Africa, and that's where I feel like I really found what I consider my African roots that I now implement in my music. And he very, very rootsy with his music as well. So we connect on that level, and then he's my friend. He's just a cool guy. He's funny. He likes to preach and make me laugh, and so he's just a really, really cool guy.
You give a lot of emphasis to your local fans. For you, and I read they are most important for you in your music. Why have you elevated them to this level? Why is it important that this fan base, local in particular, is so important to you? What is it?
Because I've experienced both. When I just started singing, my music wasn't soca or reggae or dancehall or any of those things. And at the time, I felt like Grenadians really didn't know what to do with it. And when except you and a few people. But when you looked out into my audience when I was on a stage, it was mainly tourists, yachties, or people who came in from the UK or America, because they, you know. And slowly but surely, I kept at it, and Grenadians eventually came on board. And there's just something really, really special, because at this point, it feels like my family. I feel like the people in Grenada are like my family. I know that when the Lord blesses me with a level of success, I don't ever feel like I won't be able to ever walk the streets in Grenada. I never feel like I would ever need a security or anything, because I feel like the whole of Grenada is my backyard. And it's a very, very uplifting feeling when I'm on stage and there's like my family in front of me, or like I travel to Paris. I've been to Paris, I've performed in Paris, I've performed in Spain, I've performed in Switzerland. And there are Grenadians there who come out and feeling like my brothers and my sisters and my aunts in front of me. I've never met them before, but they uplift you so. It's such a powerful thing. And I never want to let that go. And I always wanted to be that way. So
proud to be Grenadian.
I'm very proud to be Grenadian. And Grenadian, and I think that pride is what causes them to support so hard. So hard,
When you look at music in the Caribbean, you know Jamaica is famous for reggae, and they have put it on the map internationally. You are, in my view, getting there. You're spreading what we can do in Grenada and your type of music, which is unique. In that you mix up so many genres in the music. When you look at the success of Rihanna in Barbados, I was looking at her thing recently, and she is now the second or third richest black artist, black woman, as a career. She's worth almost $2 billion. You know, is it something that you would like to see happen throughout your life and your career, where you can bring the music to that level and experiment with genres that could give you that kind of international reach? I ain't saying get as rich as Rihanna, but
no, I know exactly what you mean. And I don't know if that will be a letdown for you. But again, I'm very big on my mental health. And looking at Rihanna's story, and also it was a different time. The music industry was different, you know, working with record labels and all of these things. We've learned that it's not the healthiest relationship to have an artist with a record label. So, which is why I've very diligently selected an independent path. Now, I don't know what's going to have to happen for me to reach Rihanna's status as an independent artist. I believe that it's possible, and I'm going to keep going. But I am realistic and very grounded in my approach. So I want my music to become sustainable.
Yeah.
And I want my music to become sustainable, and I do want to have international reach. But realistically, I think it's not going to be at Rihanna's level, maybe just a little bit below, and then I could build my house in the mountain and walk for 6 months and relax for 6 months. I could make sure my mother and my family good, and just keep life simple. I never want to have to walk the streets.
Never forget that Maddie's is where you came from.
Exactly. I never want to forget that Maddie's is where I come from.
Keeps you grounded.
And I never want to become so famous that I'm detached from reality and detached from other people. Yeah. That's really not my goal.
That is good. I mean, and you know, I think it's such a great thing to talk openly about the fact that you had your struggles with mental health and depression. I think for a lot of young people out there, if they're seeing this program, would know that there is hope. Because mental health and depression is such a major thing in our society now. And when you hear about suicides and among young people, they can't talk to people and so on, reach. And if you could offer music and give them that as a place where they could come and feel that, you know, it is not all doom and gloom. I think that is such a great thing.
Take it from me, it's a really powerful tool. Yeah. It's a really, really powerful tool. And even when you feel doom and gloom, simply writing about that feeling and writing about that doom and gloom helps. Yeah. It helps you process. Exactly, 100%. And I know people who, you know, they didn't have music, unfortunately, as an outlet, and they went to other things like alcohol or self-harm. And yeah, I would really, my hope is that my music would help people avoid those channels and use something that's a little bit safer.
You're a young person, and it gives us ideas of using you as an ambassador for these type of things. Because
I would love it. I feel like I would be in the right place.
You have been there.
We make this recommendation tonight.
Yes. You know,
absolutely.
I really want to know what's the secret of the barefoot thing. I love you as my barefoot artist. I always promote you as my barefoot artist.
The barefoot thing is so simple.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay on the ground. I'm trying to stay grounded.
As a Rasta say, grounded.
Grounded. But it's not even, it's spiritual, but also, it's also very simple. Heels not comfortable. Yeah. And when I'm on stage, I have a higher mission than looking good. I have a higher mission than looking sexy in my heels. That's when I'm on stage, I don't care about that. Right. I have a message. I have people to heal, hopefully. And I have people to connect with, and that's what I'm there for. So I don't need heels to do that. I really genuinely don't. It's distracting to me because I always have to be balancing, and when I'm off the stage, I could wear the heels.
Yes, interesting.
No, but I mean, when you look at Sabrina compared to other artists and all their different paraphernalia, it's interesting that.
Sometimes I envy the ladies that are able to jump and just be so effortless in their heels, but it really distracts me when I'm on stage, and I never want to. I don't want all the energy I have on stage should be focused on my mission and not on anything else. That's how I feel.
It's a good concept. the government, as part of its policy, and it's not a hard question, Sabrina.
No. Go ahead. I'll try my best.
I was warned. As a policy pursuing, or they've highlighted the creative sector, and of course, you're coming from that sector. You're part of the creative sector. And they haven't, that policy, there was some consultation, I believe, Chris, there was symposium. But Sabrina, are you aware of any specific, since this policy been rolled out, any specific things have reached you that tells you, yes, the government is putting resources into the sector that, besides the mention, Chris, there's now funds available, I understand, at one of the Grenada Development Bank for creative sector personnel. Do you support this policy? Do you think, and what ideas do you have to further it, given you're working in this area?
Yeah, well,
what can the government do essentially to advance this area, the creative sector, music and others?
Well, I don't want to step on any toes at all, but I would say that I really appreciate the effort with regards to the concession, because as I mentioned, as a creative, the way that you make money is putting on shows and selling your merchandise. And I've told this story before that a couple years ago, I won a songwriting competition in the US, and they sent me a microphone and something else. It was free. I won it. And to get it from the port, I had to pay up to almost $700 for a free gift that you know what I mean? Yeah. So things like that really hold in your back as an artist. And so they started off this initiative with the concessions that they gave to the artists. I think that's a fabulous idea.
Okay.
A break on the event taxes would be nice. Because you pay it whether you earn or whether you don't. And I mean, artists not really earning money like that outside of Carnival. Also, for artists like myself, and I know a few of them who, there's a season when you could put on shows, dry season, that's where I focus on. And I think you have to like pay a fee to the Carnival committee to put on
within this period.
Within this period. And for me, I kind of get it, but also not really. Because Sabrina Francis has nothing to do with Carnival. So I don't know that I should be taxed to put on a show that's completely unrelated. So things like that we could look into. Look into how, I don't feel like anybody could save us or do things for the artists, but the artists are creators and they're trying to do things for themselves. So look into how they are being hindered and try to lift those things. And then so many doors could open up.
Of course, one of the things, Chris, and this was only, I think, today or yesterday, the Spice Mass Corporation announced to the promoters, or that's part of the policy, that in the events during that particular time, I think it's between the 8th of
two
August.
Foreign artists.
Yeah, that they are limited to 2 foreign artists. You cannot have more than 2 foreign artists. I mean, I saw some of the responses. They were saying, well, you know, there's a foreign artist that generates a crowd. So it's an ongoing debate, I suppose.
Yeah, as it should be. As it should be. This last festival that we had there was a really nice balance.
This weekend.
Yes. It's a really nice balance. I don't know that you should limit it to 2 artists. I think that's odd. It's an odd solution. I think just involve the local artists more. Yeah. Because the more artists we have here, the more opportunities the local artists have to reach out. The answer is not just to block the border and have us here in our own little box. I'm not sure that's correct. I'm not
sure they could even do that.
You know what I mean?
Trade rules in the region.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. It's an odd solution to come up with.
I think though that, as you say, involve the local artists, but I also believe there's a balance that you must have. In your show recently, you can't, to me, when you bring in 12 artists, you ain't getting nothing special from the 12. Yeah. If they sing for 2 minutes, you get a lot. Yeah. Or they do 1 or 2 tunes, that's it. And then you, as a person in the audience, you get tired.
Easily.
Yeah. You guys in the show didn't have a lot of, I think it was 2 foreign artists?
The Grenada Caribbean festival that they had recently. I think that was really a good example of it. We had a small stage where people could, you know, the other Grenadian artists could shine, and then you had the larger stage. And most of the large stage was Grenadian artists, and they involved a couple of, you know, and that was nice. That was really nice. I think that was good.
A way for them to look to develop it going forward.
But Wide Open and the Treehouse are your 2 main events. Certainly, the Wide Open was a success based on the crowd that was there. I was there. Beautiful evening. The selection or the array of artists was it was an entertaining evening. Chris, you missed something. But I want to talk about the Treehouse because Treehouse is your thing.
Yes.
You mentioned about it briefly, but give us a little more details about the expectation. I'm to understand that you use headphones. How does this work? And
you never been to the tree?
Well, let me walk you.
I have one on YouTube.
Yes. The next one is on August 3rd. So you have to try to come.
Right, yeah.
But
I've been at the trios at least 3 times.
Serious?
Yeah, he's been a couple times.
You didn't recognize. Okay. All right. Okay.
So, I'll walk you through the evening.
Yeah.
Well, even before that, once you purchase your tickets, I send you some information with regards to directions to a parking spot at Pomeroy Junction. Right. And then I have a shuttle take you up the mountain, which I feel like that drive up is part of the whole experience. You feel like you're going to escapes.
Chris, shut up.
Some people feel like I'm going and sell them, but once you drive up the mountain, you get further and further away from people. You see more and more green. The air gets crisper, and then you go up. I welcome you with a beverage of some sort, whatever's in season, and then we lay out a red carpet. You go to your seat, you have some drink, something to eat. Then there's a bell that rings before the show starts, telling everybody to take their seat. You put on your headphones. We walk you through, you know, how it's supposed to sound, how you could adjust your volume. The lights go down, and the show starts. Recently, from the beginning of 2024, I've been doing this new version of the show at the Treehouse called Meet Me at the Mango Tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's where I'm telling a story using songs, but also soundscapes from different things in Grenada. Like one of the soundscapes is like a bus ride. So I'm telling a story about how a young girl used music to kind of overcome a lot of things. A huge crutch in the story is how, you know, parents usually leave their kids at young ages to travel to make life better. At least that's their intention. But a lot of the times the kids grow up resenting the parents for some reason. I'm talking about all of this, but I'm not necessarily with a lot of words, with songs and sounds. And it's very different from me just getting up on there and performing my songs and telling you what these songs are about. I'm walking you through an entire story from beginning to end.
Storyline.
Yeah. So I think it's really different. People come with an open mind. They never really know what to expect. And a lot of them leave impressed. So, and that's the goal.
Well, it's
hopefully
growing,
you will.
I will. I look
Not
forward to
only
that.
the goal of even impressed, but to get you back.
Yes.
Because you will come back for more.
And you've been more than once, you see.
Yes.
But some
And
personal
I've brought friends with me to experience it.
sure. So that's all.
Yeah.
Some personal reflection, Sabrina. How do you stay true to your roots while expanding your reach to the global audience?
I try to go up country to meet my family at least once a week. Sometimes I can't make it, you know, but anytime I miss it, I always try to make sure I go up. So every weekend I'm with my dad, I'm with my grandmother, I'm with my sisters, and their lives haven't changed that much. You know, my life is very, very different from when I started. I was just in the UK Sunday, I'm here, I'm going back to the UK Saturday, and you know, and your life becomes some kind of movie at some point, and then I go up and they don't care about any of that.
So as you talk about moving though, the band moves with you or
not all the time.
Not all the time.
If I'm going on a tour, you know, and it's worth spending that amount of money to bring 7 people,
exactly. So
then I would. But if
I'm
I'm going just to do something small, then I just.
But what does success mean to you, and how do you measure it in your career?
What does success mean to me?
How are you going to measure it in your career?
Oh, that's such a hard question. I have no idea how to measure my success.
But what does it mean to you?
I do
where do you
like,
want to?
I do feel like
Platinum.
I want to feel like I've made an impact with my music. I always say that in 20 years, I would like to still be able to perform a lot of the songs that I would have been releasing in this period, and still be able to connect with the people that these songs helped. That would be success for me. If I could get on a stage and perform my songs in 20 years and still have this connection with people, I would consider myself successful.
That's where you want to go. And I mean, that's been your theme throughout the conversation.
Getting a platinum record would be success.
I want to form like you know, you have artists who have like John Lennon and them who just form, they're very, very strong and they follow them. They grow up with them.
That's right.
And, you know, he's 70-something on stage and his fans 70-something in the audience with him. That would be success to me.
So are there new themes or messages you're looking to explore in any upcoming projects?
Well, yesterday I just had a meeting and my manager asked me that exact question. So
I spoke to him.
I have a little bit of downtime this month before the show, the Mango Tree show on August 3rd. And the intention, the request is that I sit, because I haven't written in a little while, take some quiet time and reflect and explore, experiment again with some music and see what comes out. Yeah, because I didn't have an answer for him either.
But that's a creativity. You know, that's a talent. Sit down and listen to the birds, look at the mango tree and the green tree.
And this is a big question because it's your goal. You said that your goal is to make a global impact through music. Describe that impact you're looking to. What was that impact? I mean, you touched on a number of areas before.
Yeah. What is the impact I'm looking to?
But through music, you want to make that impact. What's that big? Because I get this, and I ask the question because I get the sense, Sabrina, that it's not just music for you.
No.
It's something I'm bigger than that. You're using music as a means to reach out.
And to help.
Yeah.
I'm using music as a means to keep people alive.
Yeah.
Because music kept me alive. It's the reason I am here breathing in front of you.
Yeah.
And that is the impact I want
Yeah.
with. There are some, there's just a piece of music that's coming to my mind that helped me. It didn't have any words. It was just like and I've been searching for that piece of music for years and years and years. It's a saxophone, and it goes. And just it goes on, and I could recite it, everything that it did. And that is something that I listened to, and it carried me through, and I didn't even know that it was carrying me through. You don't know that you're healing when you're healing. And I want, the way that I look at that song and that piece of music and the way that the impact that it had on my life, it saving me like that, that is what I want my music to do for other people.
Sabrina, in all your music, all your songs in particular, which one stands out for you? I could tell you which one stands out for me, you know. I like the one, I call it our second national anthem, you know.
Rise One is a very lovely one.
Yes. Oh, Lord, I didn't hear that song in a long time.
Yeah.
As president.
But for you, any particular one or two stands out for you that you...
Well, off the top of my head, I love all of my songs.
Of course,
because they all come from a moment in my life. But right now, my favorites are a song that I released at the very beginning of 2023, I Feel Amazing. Not because I felt amazing when I released it.
And you'll have to give us a few, no, I wouldn't say a verse, but a part of it before you leave tonight.
Oh, of course. Okay.
So that's why I asked, so that to give you the opportunity to select the one you wanted to.
Okay, good. Good that you told me. But yes, I Feel Amazing. I released it like kind of like a mantra, because that's how I wanted to feel for the rest of the year. And I think like it worked. It was like setting my intention. And that's one of my favorites still to this day. And No Way, because it's my first positive love song that I've ever written.
I know it on Spotify.
Yeah. I mean, when you hear artists talking about setting intentions, it reminds you of being a yogi. You set your intentions for the day or for the month.
Set it for the year.
So don't interrupt Sabrina right now. She's about to sing.
I want to sit back.
Well, not for us, but for everybody. Yeah.
I just slow down. I Feel Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let me sing No Way.
Fine. Yes.
I feel good right here on the inside. Loving you is alright with me. It's hard to do, complicated is you. I gave up so many times, I won't lie. Time is the answer, time is the key. I learn you, you learn me. Nowhere I won't go today, yes, I choose you. Tomorrow, I'll still be sure I'll do it again, I'll do it again. Nowhere I won't go today, I choose you. Tomorrow, I'll still be sure I'll do it again, I'll do it again.
Grenada has to be very proud of
the talent we have in front of us.
Absolutely. I mean...
Yes, hence my addiction.
Yeah, this is... we are very fortunate, Sabrina, I think, to have talent of this nature.
And I'm very flattered. Thank you.
And I think we recognize it. You know, that's the other dimension of it. Chris, I'll leave any final comments for you.
No. I mean, I just think Sabrina, apart from being special, but different as an artist.
The difference.
And that is what, to my view, makes us stand out.
Yeah.
And her music as well. Her music is all about how to mix and match to get a message across with different types of beats, which I think is also very special. And the fact that you're exploring it shows that you're not afraid to go there.
Yeah.
No, I'm
It
not
takes a
afraid to go there.
It takes a certain strength to do that.
And I know you have strong support from the family.
That's where it comes from, yeah.
Strong support from the band, and I really wish that continues for you and the career.
Thank you.
Because I think you can elevate to the status, probably not probably Rihanna, but just below. That'll be fine for us.
And that's what we say,
And the other thing that's important here tonight, she's giving credit to the band and the support, and the, she doesn't see it as herself, but by that extension, I think.
And I think you have Grenada as the family. When you guys, I listened to some of the performances last weekend with yourself and the young artist, the young man. I think you guys have a niche now in Grenada for
I agree.
Live
and that's
bands.
the only reason why I could do shows like Meet Me at the Mango Tree and Wide Open and have people, there's a group of people in Grenada who just, they open-minded.
No, but you're very good. I mean, that's the truth about it.
I mean, years ago, Sabrina, we were not into bands and listening to bands because we didn't think the quality.
That grew over the years, and I felt it.
Now we prefer that than DJ music.
I'm telling you, when people, I've seen Grenadians literally shut down when an artist come here and play with DJ and things. And very interestingly, I've traveled to a couple Caribbean islands recently. I won't name them, but islands that you would expect to have
in particular.
islands that you would expect to have a huge live music scene. And it's just it's not what it is in Grenada.
So
like almost every day in Grenada, I could go somewhere and get a live band playing.
And there's a music school. We had the instructor here sometime earlier in the year. So
Grenada really standing out in that aspect, surprisingly. And I'm so proud of them.
And we're seeing talent, even within your band. Laura Lisa
absolutely.
and all of them coming off their own.
But to be fair, Laura Lisa was before me, and she, she opened the door for me.
But she stayed there anyway.
And your manager for the amazing work. I mean, and you've given
and for their
credit
vision. It's not just him and his wife. They play different roles, but very strong roles. I'm very, very thankful to them for seeing and investing in me. It takes a lot of energy because it's not. Now I'm a little older and I could carry things on my own and I have sense and stuff. But when I was younger, I think they tried to tried to mold and guide, and it was hard work, and they kept at it, and I feel like they're proud of me now.
Any final comments, Sabrina, you want to make?
I think it's important for me to let people know where they could find my music if they haven't already. My music, obviously, all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, but my social media, Sabrina Francis Music on Instagram and Facebook. Reach out to me. Let's connect and, get on board.
Chris, beautiful evening.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for having me, guys. That was nice little chat.
Pleasure to have you.
Yeah. Really.
Viewers, that's all the time we have. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Ready to kickstart your morning the right way? The return of MTV